Hey everybody, welcome back to Thinktwice, a weekly show where we talk about things going on in the world of Magic the Gathering, gaming, and pop culture. For episode 28, I'm your host, Justin Parnell, joined by my co-host, Ali Aintrazi, and this week we're going to be talking about the top 10 Rivals of Ixalan cards in the new standard, the Magic story, the Arbiter of Law left chaos in his wake, and Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. You know the drill. You tell me the hour-by-hour breakdown of what you did in the last week. Go. Keep in mind, we want to keep this as brief as possible.
I woke up, took a shower, pooped, took a medicine, watched Dallas Open. After Dallas Open, went to bed.
Okay, that was good. That was Saturday. I imagine you just did the same thing over and over the course of the week.
That's all I did.
You just rewatched it?
Over and over again.
I mean, there was a lot to see. You know, it was a brand new standard format. I watched it too. I didn't maybe watch it as much as you. I only watched it on Saturday and Sunday rather than watching the replays. But I felt like I learned something.
What'd you learn?
I learned that the people that answered our question of the week last week are wrong.
No, you learned that the more things change,
the more they stay the same. Which is exactly what we were talking about last week. So our question of the week last week, will Rivals of Ixalan have a... that was not the question of the week. Will the bannings in Standard create more format diversity? 47% of you said yes, 28% of you said no, and 25% of you just wanted to see what everyone else said. Ollie, you were the one that said yes, it will create more format diversity. I said no. And you could look at this one of two ways.
Let me know what's going on, okay? It's still too early. It's been literally weekend one. People play their safe deck. Let's give it at least a month. Let's give it at least a month.
Yeah, I don't think there were any really new decks played in the Open. I know Jim Davis played a blue-white, little Boggles type deck.
In the Classic?
In the Classic.
Yeah.
And that's about the newest thing we've seen. In the top 16 of... Obviously, the Dallas Open was a team event. In the top 16, we saw two people playing Merfolk in the Standard portion. But that's really about it.
We also saw a red-white aggro deck playing Path of Metal.
Yeah, it was a red deck that had Path of Metal in it. So it was a new card.
A new card, yeah. But yes, I think that spawned some sort of archetype, right?
I think it was just red. I think it's just the same red deck. See, that's the thing. And this is to be expected, like you said. We really need to see more time because week one, people generally just play what they know. So you saw a lot of decks that were good 6 months ago. You saw a black-green Constrictor deck. You saw a Sultai and a Grixis kind of mid-rangey value deck. You saw mono-red aggro. You saw Mardu vehicles.
We also saw blue-black control.
You saw blue-black control. You saw Approach.
Jim
the same stuff.
Jim had a sweet week one deck. He was playing Approach, but he was playing a version no one had played before. We've seen blue-white Approach. We've seen red-white Approach. We've seen Jeskai Approach. He was playing Bant Approach with Hour of Promise. Mostly Hour of Promise. And the side of the board, he had Carnage Tyrant and stuff.
Yeah. That's right up your alley.
Yeah, I would go further.
At least the main deck.
I would go 4 colors. But anyways.
I mean, if you're playing Hour of Promise, why not? You're fixing your mana when you get to 5.
We're foreshadowing. But anyways. There's an article coming up tomorrow.
Okay.
Or by the time you listen to this, article open Gathering Magic with my 4-color approach deck in it. Actually, 5-color approach deck.
5 colors.
Oh, it's
that
good.
Seems awfully greedy.
It's not. It's not.
It's not greedy. The not greedy 5-color deck. Okay, I find that hard to believe.
Never greedy.
But something, our first topic for today, which we're going to get into in a moment, is what we believe are our top 10 Rivals of Ixalan cards for Standard. Now, obviously, when we reviewed the set, Standard was a very different animal than it is now.
Yes.
Not only were these cards not legal yet, so we kind of hadn't seen their effect on the metagame, but Standard, it was kind of ruled over by a different master. And now that that's gone, hopefully we're able to provide this list to maybe have some insight into the future, but really, this is something important to note, because as we talk about these Dallas decks now, this is the first event. This is week 1. This is not what the format is. This is what the format looks like today. In a week, I think, like, as we go into the Philadelphia Open, which of course we'll talk about later, I think you're going to see a lot of different stuff compared to the Dallas Open. Do you agree?
I don't think so, actually. Just because it's a team event and people still don't want you trying something new. Like, I know personally, if I was going alone, I would 100% be playing my 4-color, 5-color Ram deck. But since I'm going with you guys, I can't really do that. Like, I can't do that.
That's true, because you're going to be playing Modern, so that would not be a good deck in Modern.
Right, absolutely. But also, I believe when you're playing a team event, you are a little bit more pressured to perform well, and you tend to take a lot less risks in team events. I think,
especially in deck selection.
Correct. And I think this is going to be the case for this team open. I think we'll learn more once we see a big event that's just standard. That has to be a Grand Prix or something, because
Pro Tour's not going to do it. That's Modern.
Yeah. Yep. And also, the tour has no standard opens season 1.
Yep. So, well, we will have to wait for that. But for now, are you ready to talk about these Rivals of Ixalan cards?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's bust out the top 10.
All right. We will be back in just a moment to talk about our Rivals of Ixalan top 10 for Standard. All right, Ali, I want to hit the ground running. So we talked about, when we were doing our set review, we talked about 3 cards each of us thought would make a big impact in Standard, and you've done a set review in addition to that.
Yes.
Now, all of that was before Raminop Ruins, Rampaging Ferocidon, Attune with Ether, and Rogue Refiner being banned, which you now can't play those cards in Standard. So, of course, when we were making those decisions and you were doing this review, this was taken into consideration of these cards you can't play with.
Yes, the second half of my review was these cards you can't play with. The first 2 were actually.
Okay, so it's kind of a mix because it happened like as you were writing the set review.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So, but we have a fresh look. We have a look at kind of what people are going to be, what they think they want to be playing in an early Standard, and knowing that there are things that don't exist currently that would have existed before. So let's just jump into the top 10. We'll go straight down the list. You want to go from 10 to 1 or 1 to 10?
I think it's better to go from 1 to 10.
1 to 10?
I think it's easier to follow.
Okay, so number 1. This is a list that we've put together. This is an aggregate list for both of us.
Yes.
We've agreed these are where these things need to be. So you will find that the black cards have risen in the top half of the list because I refuse to let them be below 5.
No, this is actually what we believe is the truth.
That's true.
If you did look at my set review, at the end I ranked the top 10 cards of Rivals, and of those top 10 cards, I believe I was right about 8 of them. They might have been
7 or 8. Yeah.
Yeah, they're about different order, but I believe I was right about them. But now, Justin and I have actually put our minds together.
Very powerful.
Very powerful. And I think we are right about this list.
All 10.
All 10.
Guaranteed.
100%.
Take it to the bank. Okay.
Because you have 100 IQ, I have 200 IQ. With our powers combined,
that's 305 IQ.
Exactly. 300. Yes. All right, you ready, Justin? Number 1 card at Rivals Ixalan, the best card.
And this was number 1 with a bullet for both of us. We didn't even have to debate about it. We both just agreed, and that card was
Rekindling Phoenix.
Is that so? What noise does it make when you play it? And what noise does it make when it comes back from the egg? Okay.
Because it gains haste.
Yeah, okay, so that's the whoosh sound.
Well, the whoosh is it being brought back to life.
Okay, from the egg. So it's cracking from the egg.
Right, and the louder caw is the haste.
Okay, that makes sense. So why is this number 1 card?
I thought this card was good. I don't know how good it was. 1, because I'll be honest, I'm not the best at evaluating red cards. I usually play them. And 2, it was competing with Chandra Torch of Defiance and Hazard the Fervent.
Which are both red cards that cost 4, which are arguably 2 of the top 5 cards in Standard.
Yes, and I personally believe Rekindling Phoenix, I'm going on a record here, Rekindling Phoenix is better than Chandra Torch of Defiance and Hazard the Fervent in Standard.
Those are strong words.
Do you disagree?
Here's the thing. You saying that makes me feel uncomfortable, but it's not because I think that you're wrong. It's just maybe I'm not strong enough to look inward and see that might be true in my heart. And of course, we sound crazy today, right, when we're saying this. Like, you guys are all like, okay, well, this list is crap. Because you guys just said that Chandra and Hazard are worse than this card that no one's playing. No one's playing today.
I promise you, this card is absurd. The reason I'm saying that is because I thought it was good. Wasn't sure how good. I started playing with it, and holy smokes, let me tell you why it's absurd, okay? It laughs at Radimus Chupacabra. It laughs at Glorybringer. It's hard, it's just, it can block Hazoret for as long as you want, and then crack back on your opponent's face, flying whenever you want. Like, there was a game where I was able to just chump block Hazoret for like 3-4 turns with the Phoenix, and then finally, when I do my second Phoenix, it's like, okay, now I can attack and block. It's just absolutely insane. The card is so good.
I mean, honestly, the most notable thing about this is a rare card that is good in aggressive decks, mid-range decks, and control decks.
Absolutely. I would, yeah, guys, if you guys like red, or you think you'll play this,
or if you don't.
If you think you'll ever play this, go ahead and buy it. Like, right now, we're looking at it.
It actually might be too late. By the time, if you're not listening to this like the day this releases, it might be too late for you to jump on this
Yeah, it
card.
might be. I bought them at $10 each. I think $15 is still a good deal. $20, you're probably just paying for the card. But I think
it's going to be more than $20.
It'll be $120, but I think it will eventually settle at $20. But since it just came out, it's gonna be up to like $30. Like, basically what Chandra was when she first came out.
I'll say this. We're gonna do our part to put this card on display this weekend in Standard.
Buy this card if you think you can play it.
Yep. Okay. Number 2. We don't need to spend as much time on this one because this one's pretty obvious, but just to reiterate the power, number 2 card is
Jadelight Ranger.
So Jadelight Ranger obviously is kind of the heir apparent to Rogue Refiner, right?
Yes, and it's pushed Green-Black Constrictor to be a better deck. The bannings helped it, but Jadelight Ranger is the reason, like, that made the deck even better.
Yeah, this card is incredibly efficient. It either is a sizable threat on turn 3, or it draws you up to 2 cards. Now, that could be 1 card. Now, it's always lands, but I'm a firm believer that cards are cards. Like, even if you're drawing lands, those are lands you were going to be drawing had you not explored to find them.
I mean, drawing land just means if you draw 2 lands off this, you might be a little disappointed, but I promise you it has helped you in the long run. Like, you just basically...
It's helped you in the short term, too, because if you didn't, you're going to be drawing 2 lands off the top of your deck at your 2 draw steps.
Yeah, you're making land drops, and now they are out of the way. And what's great about Jadelight Ranger is, like, the card is just good on turn 3 with or without Winding Constrictor.
But especially good with it.
Of course. But, like, Rishkar was... You didn't want to play that turn 3 by himself.
No.
You wanted it with Snake. But Jadelight's like, you know what? I'll come down by myself or with your board Constrictor and just go crazy. So this card gets our number 2 vote.
Our number 3 card is probably one that not a lot of people are expecting, but this is also a really easy pick for both Ollie and I. Number 3 card is
Dusk or Vampire Visionary. Dusk Legion Zealot.
Interchangeable names.
Yes. Dusk Legion Zealot is essentially the Elvish Visionary of black. The only difference is it's a vampire, and you lose 1 life when it comes into play.
Which most people believe, in most cases, is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing in 100% of cases.
That is true. That is true. This card is just very, very good. I believe this belongs in Grixis control or black-red control. It's just... Here, let me explain it to you. Glint Sleeve Siphoner is okay against the red decks and Mardu decks, right? It's fine. Well, Dusk Illusion Zealot does what Glint Sleeve does as soon as it comes into play. You lose 1 life, draw a card right away. You don't attack. You don't.
It happens.
Yeah, don't attack. It comes into play, lose 1 life, draw a card, and then, unlike Glint Sleeve Siphoner, you can just use it to trade with creatures. You trade with Boomrock Courier. It trades with Earthshaker Kinra. It trades with
well, sometimes trades with Earthshaker.
Right. It trades with a Veteran Motorist, and then it can just block.
More importantly, it chump blocks Hazard.
Yeah, so you're like, oh, I don't want to lose 1 life. 1 life is bad against red. Not when you're gaining four life or trading with a creature. That's huge.
Yeah, and this is honestly like for kind of mid-rangey decks. This is an excellent turn 2 play because it gets you further in your deck. It creates some value for you because most likely you're either playing a more control-y game, you're going to have more removal, or you're playing a mid-range game where you can have the Scarab God. So if you bend this, you're just going to get it back later, make it a 4/4, and then a 4/4 that draws you a card when you lose 1 life is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying play this over Glint Sleeve Siphoner. I'm just saying play both.
They're friends. They're friends. They can get along just fine.
Yes, just one last thing. Like this card is not Rogue Refiner, but it does something similar in the Grixis deck that Rogue Refiner did in the Energy deck, and then in Temur. Like, obviously not the same power level, but it helps you go through your deck so that you can just get to that mid game / late game where you want.
And honestly, if you guys have played Elvish Visionary, you should understand how powerful this card is.
Yes.
Pretty innocuous, but it makes a big impact that is not immediately evident on the game.
Yeah, the power of this card is very subtle, but it's very good.
Okay, our number 4 card is the card that you initially had at number 1 in your rankings, Ollie, and that card is.
This is Joe Herrera's Venture Herrera. This is his dog, Ravenous Chupacabra. He called her April.
Okay, now this one's pretty simple, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. This card is good. And I do think this is one of the best cards in the set. It's just way too efficient for what it does. It kills a creature, which is 2 to 3 mana depending on who you ask, like what set you ask.
Yeah.
And it comes with a 2/2, and of course creatures could be recurred really easily. This is at its best in kind of a mid-range metagame, and right now, like week 1, I don't think this performed very well because it was a pretty aggressive. Like people took aggressive decks, and then they took like big like control decks. I think as you start seeing 3 and 4 and 5 mana cards be played more, then Ravenous Chupacabra starts seeing play a lot more. You're going to just see this card forever. It's like it'll never be the best card in Standard because it's kind of simple and it just does its thing, but it's always going to be something you have to be mindful of if you're playing big threats.
Yes, I do think that eventually it might like phase in and out of Standard depending on metagame. Again, Rekindling Phoenix makes like laughs at Ravenous Chupacabra. Ravenous Chupacabra doesn't do anything.
Annoys it. It annoys the Phoenix.
Yeah, kind of. Like the Chupacabra is not as good as originally thought because the creatures in Standard are so insane. Like doesn't deal with the most important ones. Hazaret, Scarab God, Glorybringer did his thing. Rekindling Phoenix is coming, boys. I'm telling you.
Yep.
And then like Daylight Ranger, like all the cards that it's killing they've already done value.
Something. Yeah, they've already done their thing. Except it is good against the next card on our list.
Yes, yes.
And our card number 5 is
Kumina, Tyrant of Orazca. I'll get it one day. Kumina is the reason Merfolk is the only tribe that's playable. A lot of people asked me, I was doing my start review, Ollie, why do you think Pirates is playable? They have so many good cards. Ollie, what about vampires? Vampires has a lord just like Merfolk does. They have the Black-White Lord. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter. They don't have Silvergill Adept, they don't have Kumina. And Kumina is the reason Merfolk is good. The card is absurd. It draws you cards. It gives you reach by making something unblockable. It grows your team permanently.
And if it needs to, it can break through on its own with a friend, as long as you have a friend to help it.
Yes.
It also has 4 toughness, which is a lot. It's not a lot to Glorybringer, but it's a lot to other creatures. And Merfolk has the tendency to kind of grow its own creature. So this actually gets into a pretty sizable thing pretty quickly.
Yes.
This is obviously the most narrow card that we've talked about for sure, but the power level of this card alone allows it to kind of fuel an archetype that could not possibly exist before.
Correct.
I do think this card is going to be paired with our number 6 card, which is
Civil Guild Adept.
This is obviously a reprint. We don't need to go over the power level of this card. If you have Merfolk, you're playing this card.
Yeah.
If this card is just insane. The fact that it's a 2/1 that draws you a card, just period.
Guys,
we're just talking about we're just talking about Dusk Legion Zealot and Rogue Refiner.
Yeah,
this is just the same thing.
Yeah, but that's 2 power. It's Dusk Legion Zealot with 2 power,
and you don't lose a life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Real quick, the reason 4 toughness is so good is because the removal spells in standard don't hit it. A Braid doesn't hit it. Harness Lightning does not hit it unless you have another energy already.
Which is tougher nowadays.
Yes, and also most decks playing Fatal Push have a very, very hard time triggering Revolt, and Kamina is at the convenient cost of 3.
Yep.
So he's just hard to kill.
Yep. So our number 7 card, this is a card Ollie fought me on a little bit, but ultimately I gave in because I do think it's a pretty sweet card. Number 7 card is
Arch of Orazca.
You did it kind of
Yes.
again.
Yes.
All right, why is this good? It's a land that produces colorless mana and it asks you to have 9 other permanents in play before it does anything.
Yes, it does. But it's almost like a free roll in 2-color decks. In 2-color decks, you should be playing at least 1 Arch of Orazca. The reason being, the ability to just tap lands and draw a card is very powerful. If you're playing Our Promise, you should automatically play at least 1 Arch of Orazca. This card is also not legendary too, so it's just
if you
great.
need to get your double arches on. If you're trying to get the golden arches, if you want to go to McDonald's, you can do that.
Yeah.
You can do that.
You can do that. I'm trying to think of a land that draws a card. Like what the values of land drawing a card is.
I don't know. Like how much it should cost?
Yeah.
5, apparently.
I mean, I think it's reduced. Like I'm thinking of a flip search files cost 1 less. Obviously, you get the impulse and it's a specific card. You have to get a specific card. But this is like obviously not better than search, but it's just it goes many more decks.
Yeah, it's colorless. That's important.
So, but I guess Secret Wreckage is the last thing we saw. Secret Wreckage, when that required a colorless mana, and you have to be held
empty-handed. Yeah.
Yeah, so Arch is really good.
Okay. Our number 8 card is a card that I am not sold on, so Ollie, I'm going to let you convince me on this card. And number 8 card is...
Baffling End.
You know what I'm baffled by? How far we have fallen from Journey to Nowhere. That card was in standard for so long and did not see that much play, which is crazy to me because we've gotten so many Journey to Nowhere clones and they're all just like infinitely worse.
That's the thing. They are all just worse, but they still all continue to see play. Silk Rep was a staple. It saw play. I actually do believe this is a little better than Silk Rep. Not giving the creature back is pretty important. I believe in most cases giving them back a generic 3/3 dinosaur is better than giving back what you exiled with the enchantment.
I'm not convinced.
Okay, I mean I'm just saying this is the problem. The problem is this is the best White has. Before White has Slash of Talons, and at 2 they don't really have anything. Blue-White Approach was forced to play Ether Meltdown, which actually
I guess by virtue of literally nothing else existing, this is fine.
And it will see play just because it is a 2-mana removal spell. I'm
hoping that by the time we get a Dominaria, something else comes along that makes Baffling End go away.
I hope so too. I thought Baffling End, the more I look at it, the worse it is because of the format. Like everything has haste, and honestly, I'm making fun of Aether Meltdown, but I actually want it. Like I want to melt down a Hazret. I want to melt down a Heart of Kiran. I mean, I can't Baffling End a Hazret or a Heart of Kiran, so
nope.
Sorcery Speed sucks, but it's all we got for White removal.
And if you're trying to get if you get the smaller creatures, if they ever do remove it, the 3/3 Dino with Trample might just be bigger.
It depends. Like for example, if you exile like a Kamina, rather than get the dinosaur with Kamina back.
Sure. Yes, I agree with that. Okay. Yeah. Number 9 card is
Azor the Lawbringer,
who will be the focus of our second segment. We'll get to that in a bit.
Yes, I think the only reason Azor is not seeing play yet is because one, control is pretty weak right now.
Yeah, it's week 1 also.
It's week 1, and control is just weak as in WEAK weak. It's just
No, yeah, I didn't mean weak. Yes,
yes. Yeah. It's just control has a hard time dealing with creatures that just generate value automatically, and haste is considered value. They also right now they have really bad removal spells like Walk the Plank is sorcery speed. On top of that, even if it wasn't sorcery speed, there's a Merfolk deck now. They don't have like ultimate price. Like their 2 removal spells like Moment of Craving. Like, is Doomblade too much? Anyways,
apparently so.
Yes, apparently so.
Doomblade, Journey to Nowhere, Lightning Bolt, get out.
Yes, I do think Azor will see play. Azor is very powerful. I was talking to Justin earlier about this. Justin says Azor runs into the problem of Vraska's Contempt. Thing is, I kind of disagree. The reason being is your opponent's not always going to hold up 4 mana to contempt your Azor. If they ever hold up 3 mana or 2 mana, whatever, you play Azor, you trigger the ability, you pass a turn, they can't contempt him. Then when you untap, they're going to try to contempt him, but then by that point you can protect him.
I don't think Azor is bad. I just think it's slow, and I don't think the tools are there in blue-white for that kind of finisher. I think you want to have something that's even more difficult to remove, which sounds crazy because this is not an easy card to remove, but I don't know. I think that's kind of where we are at this very moment.
I think it's also great in Blue-White Approach because Blue-White Approach usually brings in Torrential Gearhulk, but they have very few instances they can flash back because they're approach deck.
It's a lot of sorcery and stuff that doesn't like
or
the
cast out.
Interactive cards. Yeah,
or Baffling End. Yes, Azor is better than Gearhulk in that deck. It's a fantastic alternate win condition. It does not to braid what they live in. I think Azor will see play as time goes on.
I mean, and obviously Sphinx's Revelation is powerful. This card has Sphinx's Revelation stapled to its face.
Yes, and doing it main phase doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't, not if you're also attacking them for 6.
Non-standard, yes.
Okay, card number 10 is a card I had to convince you to put on the list. Card number 10 is...
Curious Obsession.
All right, let me tell you why I like this card. It costs 1 mana. It pumps the creature +1/+1, which is certainly not irrelevant, and it replaces itself immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So, unlike Curiosity, this is actually increasing the whatever deck you're playing, which is going to be a small creature deck, its ability to kind of close the game and actually put those cards to good use.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I think, even though I don't like the Boggles type deck, there already has been, like Jim Davis has already like had a high finish in a live tournament in the Star City Games Classic in Dallas, the standard one. With a deck that essentially could not exist without Curious Obsession.
Yes.
So I just think this card has a place, and it's going to see play not just in standard, but probably other formats too.
I agree. I agree with you. The thing is, like, Curiosity is already pretty good, but the fact that this thing pumps is the best part. And also in standard, we have 12, or you can play up to 12 unblockable creatures that cost 1 or 2.
That's
we
right.
have Slitherblade, Mistcloaked Herald, and River Sneak.
Yep.
They are all unblockable, and they curve perfectly with Curious Obsession.
And of course, Curious Obsession has the downside: if you don't attack, if you didn't attack during your turn, you have to sacrifice it. That's not whatever. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, you're putting on unblockable creature. The creature's attacking every single turn.
Yes. And also, it doesn't even have to be the creature that is on an attack, just as you attacked. But again, it doesn't matter.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah. The clock on a block of creatures is already annoying enough. Them actually drawing a card every turn is going to be like. I actually believe this might see play with Curious Obsession. Might see play with something like Dowsing Dagger, like giving your creature unblockable, giving them 2 defenders, whatever. Your land flips.
Yeah, it's irrelevant.
Yeah, your land flips now. You draw a card and you have a Black Lotus land that taps for 3 mana.
And you draw cards, so you can use it.
Yeah, and they have what? They have 2 defenders. Whoop-de-doo, I don't care. Like, this is gonna be a deck. I'm waiting for it. This is obviously it's already starting to see play. People are I speculated. This is just week 1. Guys, wait until they actually tune this deck and it's gonna be annoying.
I mean, it's probably just a blue-green deck, so you can have Blossoming Defense and like Dive Down to protect your guy, and then just poke at them until they're dead.
Sure.
There's nothing you can do, and you keep your hand full.
Yeah, the brew I made was actually made a brew with blue-green in the blue section. And it was also playing Pummeler, just for the other recognition of with pummeling them with Blessing Defense and whatever. And,
yeah, that could work too.
Yeah.
All right, that's our top 10. Ollie, are you completely comfortable with it? Because this is going on the internet forever, and you will be judged harshly.
Lock it in. Pop, lock, and keep it in.
Don't drop it.
Don't drop it.
I know. Normally you drop it. Do not drop it this time.
Do not drop the Thumpano.
Okay. Well, we're done with standard, and it is time for Magic Story. So, as always, this is your time to prepare. Take a seat back, relax, open your ears up for the lore of the Arbiter of Law left chaos in his wake. We will be back in just a moment.
What is that Thumpano?
Ollie, you know how this goes.
On Celebrity Deathmatch, on one corner we have Huatley and Triple T. On the other corner we have Vona and Maverick Fane. In another corner we have Angrath and his Angry Whip. And they're all going crazy. Who's going to win? Find out next time on Celebrity Deathmatch. So they're all basically, that's what happened. They're all there fighting on the Immortal Sun, fighting for power of it. It's just Angrath by himself, Huatley and Tashana. We call it Thunderthighs. Thunderthighs, Tashana here, Triple T. And then Vona and Maverick Fane are also on a quote unquote team fighting for the power of the Immortal Sun to see who will control Ixalan. And then part 2 is Jace's encounter with Azor, the Lawbringer. Jace and Vraska walk in, Jace unlocks the puzzle, whatever, they talk to Azor. Azor's like, yo, I've been locked up for 1,000 years, this is crazy. Jace is like, you're mean, you made too many laws. Azor's like, no, I didn't. Laws are good. He's like, no, you're a bad guy. Azor's like, no, I made just laws, it's not my fault the people didn't follow it. He's like, I'm gonna punish you. You are going to a useless island and being useless because that's what I do, and I don't care. And Azor's like, okay, peace, bro. I'm sorry. Actually, he doesn't get a chance to apologize. He just goes. Vraska's like, yeah, you hate Gorgons. Yeah, call me captain. Yeah, I'm on Jace's side. Yeah, and then Jace's like, oh my god, I remember Bolus, and that's what happened. Okay, where do you want to start? You want to start at the beginning? Yeah, let's just talk about the battle royale real quick. Battle royale. So this beginning of this scene reminded me of Celebrity Deathmatch. No, it reminded me of like a really violent version of musical chairs, except there's only one chair. The Immortal Sun. The Immortal Sun is the only chair, and they're all trying to sit in the chair. So I want to work backwards from this scene. The scene ends with Huatley, Vona, Triple T, and Angrath all like touching the Immortal Sun, like at some point. Mm-hmm. Like they're all just like kind of on it, or touching it with their hands or their legs or their little fingies. And the lead up to that point is basically just exactly what Ollie said is a battle royale. It's a scuffle between all of these characters and a bunch of pirates and a bunch of dinosaurs, and like people are like double crossing people. Huatley and Angrath were cool, and then Triple T shows up, and Huatley's like, "Oh yeah, I have an alliance with you, so I'm gonna make a dinosaur step on Angrath." And then Angrath cuts the dinosaur's head off and throws it at Huatley, and then they start to fight. And it's just a bunch of madness. It's a bunch of madness going on. Yes. And at one point, you hear this beautiful song. It's like, and everyone's like, oh my god, who's singing? That beautiful voice! It's the siren that was on Vraska's ship. She was the captain of it. And then we hear, what do we hear? Violence! And the siren says, go for the eyes, breeches! Which in our pre-recording, Ollie called britches, which I liked. I did call it britches.
I like britches. Let's just call it britches.
Let's call it britches. Okay.
Okay. Go for the eyes, britches.
Yeah. So, but eventually, the siren and the goblin, for the most part, are just flying over the fight, just watching the fight. They're basically being vultures. They're being pirates. They want them to fight out, and then whoever is left alive that's damaged, they want to take out and get the mortal stone. They're playing it like smart, basically, like the way.
Unlike a pirate would normally do, you would think.
No, I think pirate would do that. I think pirate would do that.
Wait it out.
Yeah.
Just see what happens in the scuttle, maybe.
Well, I mean, they just wait. They make them fight. Then whoever's left over, there's like the weakened person. They just
violence.
Exactly.
They violence them. I'm gonna just start saying that. I'm gonna add that to my my repertoire.
Yeah, Maverick Fang gets blocked up against the wall with Triple T's vines, and Wally at one point touches the Mortal Sun, feels it. She feels the Elder Dinosaurs, and she begins to call the Elder Dinosaurs to her.
So that could be potentially dangerous, right?
Yes, they didn't come. We just know they're walking towards Huatli.
Walking.
Yes, walking. Whatever they're doing.
Around that.
Yeah, walking towards Orazca.
So this story is interesting at the end. Because at the end, they're all touching the Immortal Sun, and then the floor gives away. Now, in the room that they're in, which I'll call the Sun Room, which I know is going to be confusing in a moment because there's two Sun Rooms. But in the Sun Room, the Immortal Sun is on the floor. Okay? So they can you walk on it. So like as it's depicted in Kumina's Awakening and Vona's Hunger, they're both standing on the Immortal Sun, and it's like its power is surrounding them. And then in the end, you have like Watley like kind of touching it. You have Tashana touching it with her little vines. You have Angrath putting his foot on it. So they're all like touching it because it's on the ground, right? Mm-hmm. And then the floor gives away. Now, as we get to the second part of the story, which is with Azor, Orazca, and Jace, we find out that they're also in a room that has the Immortal Sun in it. Except the room that they're in, the Immortal Sun is on the ceiling. So these two things are not taking place at the same time, because at the end of the second part of the story, we don't, as far as we know so far, we don't see all of these characters come crashing through the ceiling on the Immortal Sun. So what I believe is that these things are kind of happening at different times. So while this first part of the story with the Battle Royale part is told first, I don't think this actually happens first. I actually think this is happening after the interaction that Jace and Orazca have with Azor. Right? You follow me?
Yes.
Because we know that they would be falling into that room, and that doesn't happen because they don't fall into the room.
So basically, the story is told
in reverse.
In reverse order, yes.
And not only is it told in reverse, I think there's another portion of the story that has not been told yet that has to do with Jace and Orazca before we even get to the point where
the ceiling collapses.
Where the ceiling collapses. So in my opinion, or I guess my guess, is the next story starts with Jace and Orazca in the
talking about Bolus
in the bottom part of the Immortal Sun Room, and then at the end of their portion of the story is when the ceiling, their ceiling where the Immortal Sun is above them, is going to come down, and then all of these other people are going to come down with it.
Yes, I believe that too.
Okay.
So then the second part of the story.
Buckle up.
Man, I don't get it. Jace,
you do get it.
Jace and Orazca are both being hypocrites. They are destroying Azor for doing some bad things in the past. And they are not going easy on him. They're not giving him a second chance. They're not trying to teach him why he was wrong. They are just drilling him and drilling him and drilling him and drilling him until finally Azor gives away a hint saying, yo, I was doing all this, especially the Immortal Sun, to imprison Nicol Bolas.
Ding, ding, ding.
And it's like, oh.
Wait, that's that name. I've heard that name before. It's in my memory now that I all now have back in my old stinky head.
And then he remembers Bolas. Then he's like, yo, Sphinx, can I go into your brain and, read around it and then learn everything you know about Bolus.
So at this
He's
point,
like, sure.
yeah. So they've gone back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jace asks him after Jace has kind of punched him in the brain a few times.
Give him migraines essentially.
Yeah. And he's like, fine, because you're gonna just destroy my brain anyway, because even though Jace appears to be this nice, gentle character, again, I am not personally sold.
He's being savage here.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're turning around on Jace, where I've been the entire time. But anyway.
Well, this story is he's being a complete douchebag.
Oh, he's being exactly like I thought he was going to be? Where I'm, again, completely unsurprised.
You did say this, so...
But and then he sees Bolus and gets all of the information. He basically as far as I'm concerned, absorbs all of Azor's memories. Azor still has them, well, at this point. Absorbs all of Azor's memories and knows everything that he knows about Bolus.
Yes. Basically, copy-paste.
Copy-paste into Jace brain.
Yes. Azor uses. By the way, when they walk into the Azor place, we learn that Azor has been there on Ixalan for a little over 1,000 years.
That's a lot. That's a lot of years to just be by yourself, just sitting.
Especially as a planeswalker, a being that could usually go wherever they want, travel wherever they need to be, knows that there are other worlds. They're not allowed to. It's like being in a house and knowing. You have neighbors, there's more houses, but you could not leave that house anymore because you gave up your spark. I personally think that Azor has gone a little mad. The way he's talking.
Oh, most certainly.
He's just like screaming about law and how he's...
I am the law.
Yeah, he seems like little...
Frankly, he's confusing himself with Judge Dredd.
Sure. He's going a little wacky to me. And while they're talking to him, like they're condemning Azor for Azor's like, I went to different planes, I gave law. They're saying, yeah, but you hurt more than you helped, and they're blaming him for everything. So
here there's a couple of points that I want us to really like dive deep into, and I guess we'll start with the quotes. So at the end, as essentially Jace is like sentencing. Air quotes around sentencing. Okay. Azor. He says this.
He says, your intentions were noble, but the effect of the Immortal Sun on Ixalan has been catastrophic. You and the Immortal Sun are a danger to the stability of this plane. He literally tells Azor, you made the Immortal Sun, you imbued it with your spark, and you are just... You don't see this? Buddy, I'm telling you right now, you are damaging this plane. You are causing tons of damage, and you're just blind to it, so you deserve punishment.
And now, why, in your opinion, Ollie, is this such a terrible thing for Jace to be saying, and then following through with his actions of what he does?
Well, one earlier, like we talked about, you talked about too, this whole time Jace has been basically redeemed. He's done some horrible things in his past. He's mind-wiped a Sphinx. He's done all these awful things. And he's like, you know what? I can change. I can do better. Give me a second, third, fourth chance.
This whole story is about second chances with Jace and Orazca.
Yes. And then on top of that, the thing that really, really rubbed me the wrong way, he's calling Azor arrogant and not thinking about anything but himself and basically destroying planes.
Your intentions were noble. So you thought you were doing the right thing, but
you've caused catastrophic damage.
But regardless of your intentions, your actions, you had no idea of the consequences of and created something that was bad. You didn't think before you acted, and you done messed up, AA Ron.
Exactly. And do you know when Jace did this? Jace literally did this after being told not to by Ugin. Jace pulled Ulamog. Jace and his team pulled Ulamog cards to the physical realm and destroyed them. And Ugin told him not to do this multiple times. And he did anyways.
Because he didn't, even though his intentions were noble, he did not think about the consequences of his actions. And we still do not know. We
Yes.
still don't know that. But what we do know is that in this redemption story about Jace and Vraska, they are refusing to give someone a being who they've just met and just learned his story of. Not only just learned his story of, but they also learned, Jace learned, that his whole point was to trap Bolas because he knew he was dangerous. Jace also knows he's dangerous. But yet, despite this, they decide, Jace essentially decides, with Vraska's urging, to make sure that Azor can't do this, can't hurt anyone else, in their words.
Yes.
So they essentially take all of Azor's power away and make him the master and commander of Useless Island, which is Ixalan, and he's not able to interact with any sentient beings. So he literally, all he can do around is fly and sleep and poop and eat, and that's it.
A lot of this story, there's mention of law magic or ruling magic, and
Aromancy.
yes, if you don't know what that is, it's the Azorius power. It's basically it makes the other person obedient to what you say. It is law magic compels obedience without a fight. It is what the Azorius is all about, and this is what Jace does to Azor. He doesn't erase his memory, but he's like, "Hey, you are now the ruler. You're now the ruler of Useless Island. You will guard it. You'll not touch sentient beings. Go." So he compels him and makes him do this without really being able to control it. Imagine like someone saying, imagine like your hand going crazy and you want to make it stop, but you can't because someone's controlling it with magic. That's basically what Jace did to Azor.
And not only this, it's like people I'm sure will make the argument saying, oh, it's like poetic justice because Azor is this bad dude, and then Jace used the magic that Azor literally put into place across the multiverse to teach him a lesson. One, he didn't teach him a lesson. He just told him, he was like, yeah, you thought you were doing good, but you did bad, and now you're going to pay the price. You will get no second chance. You are on trial. I am the judge, jury, and executioner. You're done.
Yes. By the way, you've been imprisoned on this island, quote unquote, imprisoned in air quotes, on Ixalan. Well, now you're just going to be, you're still going to be stuck on this island, but just going to use this island. He sends him away, again, like Justin said, he sends him away after he knows that Azor knows about Bolas. He also knows Azor has a buddy that helped him set up this immortal sun and was trying to take down Bolas. He never even bothers to ask who that person is. Luckily, Justin broke it down for us, and we came to the conclusion that Azor was absolutely teamed up with Ugin.
Yes.
But
which is something we predicted last week.
Last week, yes. And Azor, my God, it doesn't even ask about that. It doesn't ask about Azor's plan. How does the immortal sun affect Bolas? Who's your teammate? Like, what are you doing, Jace?
Nothing. He is literally not thinking before he acts. Vraska is not helping.
No, she's not. She's just pushing. She's pushing.
And Vraska is being very, very selfish.
She is.
And she actually had another quote slightly earlier in the story when she's addressing Azor regarding her treatment at the hands of the Azorius back on Ravnica, which again was like maybe 10 years ago, like in real time. And Azor has been away from Ravnica for like well over 1,000 years.
Yes.
The wars of this plane are on your head, and the prison where I suffered needlessly on Ravnica, where my people were subjugated, was ultimately of your making. That is a load of crap. That is saying that Vraska believes that Azor did this on purpose so that ultimately, 1,000 years in the future, that Vraska and other people like Vraska would be punished and tortured.
Don't get me wrong, Azor did do his thing on purpose, but he is not responsible for what people do 1,000 years later. That's like, can you imagine if you were blamed for your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather's mistakes? Like, that's like saying, okay, sure, the parent has some fault in the child, or the children's children, maybe, or the children's children, maybe, but at some point you gotta be like, man, okay, you messed up, you hurt me, or hey, Dad, you hurt me, but now I got to do my own thing. Like, I get to choose now if I want to be bad or good.
Yeah, he's far enough removed, and he even says, like, if the system is broken down, it is not because of me, it's because of the citizens. And even though he sounds really arrogant when he's saying that,
Yes, absolutely.
like, it's not like he does it and then leaves and then the next day they start messing up. It's like, dude, we're talking like 1,000 years. That's just true.
Yes.
Like he can't be held responsible for a literal 1,000 years.
And even if he messed up, like even if he did do damage, you can't blame him for everything that happens from then on that point on. Like, you can't blame your parents forever.
And also, again, Jace not looking at the bigger picture because he's upset because he says, again, this is in our opinion is the most important line of the story. Your intentions were noble, but the effects of the immortal sun on Ixalan have been catastrophic. You and the immortal sun are a danger to the stability of this plane. Jace, you understand that the multiverse is a big place. There's not just one plane. It's not just Ixalan. There's so much more than that. Azor sacrificed his spark to ensure that's literally the most selfless thing that a planeswalker could ever do.
Yes.
Is rid themselves of the power of being a planeswalker, of the most powerful magic they have access to, allowing themselves to get rid of it on purpose. He does this for the purpose of making sure that he and the person he was working with, which we know is Ugin, they don't specifically say it in the story, but it's Ugin, with the whole purpose of making sure that Bolas, who they recognize as the ultimate evil in the multiverse, he did this with the purpose of imprisoning Ugin. That is literally the most noble thing you could possibly do.
Bolas.
Sorry, Bolas.
Yes.
And Jace is so caught up on just this Ixalan plane. Look, I get it. I get that the people on Ixalan have been driven crazy by the fact that this immortal sun is here, and it's literally created chaos in the plane for as long as it's existed. But Jace, you got to look at the big picture, buddy. Yeah. You're smarter than that.
Yes. Also, I want to go back to Justin was saying how Azor gave up his spark, right? Guys, there's 3 planeswalkers that I can think of off the top of my head that gave up their spark.
Yep.
Essentially, Urza gave up his spark or his eyes, the Meek and Mystone, and put them in Karn. That was to basically save Dominaria from the freaking Phyrexians, from Yawgmoth. That's insane. That's a huge battle.
Urza was a jerk, but ultimately selfish is in the end.
Yeah, kind of, yes. Teferi, or Teferi, how you want to say his name, he gave up his spark to protect his whole people.
Seal the time rifts on Dominaria.
All his people. Like, that's huge and noble, right? Like that's humongous. Venser gave up his spark and ultimately his life to cleanse Karn of the corruption of the Phyrexian corruption. And guys, like, that's obviously huge and noble. And like, Azor did the same. Like all these planeswalkers gave it up on like
for the best possible reasons.
Yes, Azor even
to fight the good fight.
Exactly. Azor meant well, and he just
and ultimately, and it doesn't matter the fact. Yeah, you know what? Maybe he did. Maybe ultimately, it's crappy. I'm sorry, Ixalan, that you had to be the place that he landed on. But you know what? It's for the ultimate greater good, and I think I actually like how this story was written because one, it reinforces my thing about Jace, which I've been saying. Like, Jace is very misguided and he's arrogant, and he's right back. He's getting right back to where he was before, the beginning of this Ixalan story. But man,
yeah,
so short-sighted, buddy.
One more quick rant about this. Orazca tells Azor at some point, I don't have the quote for it, but she's basically like, you made the rules of planes, and then you just left. You did not govern them. You did not govern your people. You basically got them all together. You grouped them all together, and then you disappeared and left them to fend for themselves. She's like, you can't do that. You can't abandon your people. They trusted you. They loved you. Like, you can't just leave them. Orazca, honey, you are the captain of the belligerent. What do you think can happen when you leave?
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure Orazca's never going to leave because that's what she really believes in her heart.
Orazca.
Also, Orazca, you're literally on a mission for Nicol Bolas. Yeah. I know she doesn't know what that entails, but she also knows that she's not just going to stay on Ixalan forever. So she's literally just full of crap. They're both full of crap.
I mean, she grouped people of the belligerent together. They're all obviously pirates. Are all like outcasts, right? Like traditional pirates are. She grouped them all together, brought them all together, and she's ultimately wants to leave them to go to another plane, Ravnica, to be guild leader of the Golgari, which Bolas promised her. We'll see how that turns out. But like, just so much hypocrisy. And what was crazy to me was how easily Jace overpowered Azor. He absolutely demolished him. Anytime Azor tried to probe into Jace's like barriers, Jace like, nah, bro. And Jace like looked at him and his eyes, turned blue, and he gave Azor migraines and like made him like bow down and made him call Orazca captain.
Orazca described him as a kitty cat.
Yeah, he
literally in the story described Azor as a kitty cat.
I understand Azor gave up Spark, but that doesn't. Sure, he should become weaker, but Jace wiped the floor with Azor, and it was surprising to me.
Not to me. Not surprising to me. You know why? Because like I said last week, Jace, he is being set up as the most powerful of all of the Planeswalkers. Whether you like it or not, Ali, and I personally don't like it, but you've been defending Jace this whole time.
Okay, so you're saying Jace is getting really powerful, right? Do you think... Question of the week. Do you think, Justin, when Jace meets Bolas again, who do you think will be stronger? When Jace meets Bolas again, who will be stronger?
As much as this breaks my heart to say this, because listeners of the show, you guys know that I do not care for Jace. Jace is going to be stronger by the time he has the ultimate confrontation with Bolas.
No way.
He absolutely is. They're literally setting it up. He is unlocking powers he doesn't even know he has. He's using minimal effort to take down a former Planeswalker that made what is one of the most powerful artifacts in the existence of the multiverse. And he just treated him like a little flea. Just now. He's just scratching the surface. He's just now remembering all of his power, all of the things that he's learned. He's just now he's copy-pasted, like we said, Azor's memories of Bolas into his own mind. You're telling me you legitimately think that they're not going to position Jace so he's going to go toe-to-toe with Bolas?
I don't think so.
And I think he's going to win.
In my defense, I can't believe that. I can't believe that.
You don't want to believe it.
I can't. No.
You don't want to.
Bolas will be stronger. I believe everyone, Ugin, fucking freaking Karn, Jace, the whole Gatewatch, will have to combat Bolas to defeat him. I don't think Jace is going to go one-to-one with Bolas. There's no way. Jace absolutely obliterated the Gatewatch. I understand that no plan.
Bolas obliterated the Gatewatch.
So what did I say?
Jace.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said Jace because you know that Jace is going to be more powerful. So I see it's a slip of the tongue.
No. Bolas absolutely obliterated the Gatewatch. He set up grand schemes, bunch of designs, like, and he's absorbed the Maelstrom Nexus. He's gained tons of power since the mending.
Yep.
And I think he might actually get his power. He might succeed to get his power back.
Yeah, that's why this is going to be that much more frustrating for you.
There's no way. No, Bolas will be stronger than Jace forever. There's no way Jace will be stronger.
I've never wanted to be wrong on a question of the week so badly. And we're not going to find out the answer to this question of the week. We are going to find out from you guys what you guys think. Ollie believes that it's going to be Bolas. Ultimately, that's going to be stronger when they have their final confrontation. I believe it's going to be Jace. You guys should let us know at Thinktwice MTG, at Ollie Eldrazi at just regular old Ollie Eldrazi, at JParnell1 on Twitter. Who you think is going to be stronger. Again, we're not going to know, but we do want to know what you guys think on this subject.
Come on, man. Come on, Bolas. Pull through.
I want him.
I'll be so mad.
Hey, I want you to make the question of the week so I can vote for Bolas.
No, vote for whoever you want. I will be. That will unravel. God, I'll be furious.
Oh,
I'm getting mad now.
You're going to be furious.
All this story.
You were getting mad when I suggested, even like put the little thought in your head.
No, there's no way. There's so many.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk next week. We'll talk next week. You think, dude? He has so much more powerful from last week to this week.
He did.
Are you kidding me?
He did, but there's no way.
Okay. Yeah, there's no way.
I don't believe it. All right, guys, let us know.
Delusional. Let us know, guys. We are we're going to jump out for a moment, and when we return, we're going to discuss Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle.
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. We got everything you want. How do we know the names? We are the people that can find whatever you may need. If you got the money, honey, we got your disease. The jungle. Welcome to the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle. We've got fun and games. Something, something, something.
Oh my gosh.
Jumanji. Jumanji. Jumanji.
I did not expect you to know the exact words to the song coming in.
I mean, you're welcome. Like,
I was surprised.
do you know the artists?
Please enlighten me.
No, you need to tell me.
No, enlighten me to that
I
version.
forgot. Who was it?
To that version of the song?
No, to the original version of the song.
Man, see, I know this, but you're literally putting me on the spot, and people are gonna freak out.
It's fine. Anyways,
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna blurb, like say it in the middle when I think.
I actually don't remember. I was gonna say if I put a pair back over my head, would I sound like this band? And the answer is yes. Like, would you guys pay to come see me sing that song in live concert?
Yeah,
I think so. I think so.
I would pay to get backstage access.
Yeah, I think so too. So I went to this movie. Like, Justin and I were thinking about, okay, what should we watch? I don't know what to watch. I was like, hey, what about Jumanji?
Yeah, we got some lined up but they're not the things that the pop culture and the movies, movies and TV shows are not out yet. So we're like, okay, so we got a week where we can just fill it with something.
Yeah, I was like, let's watch Jumanji.
Yeah,
I went solo, by the way, and I sat down. I was like, why am I here? Like, I don't feel like being here. But after when it's all said and done, the movie was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. Obviously, it wasn't like something I was really looking forward to, but it was a good I did not regret my 2 hours. They went to a good cause.
well spent.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think this movie was actually a lot of fun. Had a fantastic cast. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, as most people know him, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, and Jack Black are the four main actors in this movie. They're all really well cast. They're all really funny. It's a good action-y movie, and it's a lot of fun. I went with my girlfriend and her 11-year-old son, and everybody enjoyed the movie. Like, all of us.
That's great.
Which is really rare.
Yeah.
Usually that's a feat that usually only like Disney's able to pull off, where you can actually have people from all different age groups and generations go to a movie together, and then everyone's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that was fun. That was a fun movie."
Yeah.
And this movie somehow pulled it off. And I was like, so when this movie was announced, it was not even on my radar for something I was going to be interested in seeing. But then it kept getting to I kept hearing from people like, "Oh, that movie was a lot of fun."
Yeah, I went solo, guys, and there were like at least 5 or 6 times where I just laughed out loud because the jokes they made were just hilarious. So it was a fun movie.
It was. I liked the links between. I know you've only seen the original Jumanji one time.
So long ago, man.
Yeah, one
I
time 20 years ago, because
Basically,
you never would have watched it again. There were a couple of links, like with Alan Parrish, who was Robin Williams' character in the first Jumanji from like 20 years ago. So there were like some connections to like, hey, this is in the same universe. But it didn't. The connections didn't feel forced, because it was just like, here's this little thing. Like they just splash you with a tiny little bit of water in the beginning, and that was pretty much it, and a little bit in the middle. I liked that the game could turn into a different game based on the generation.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I did think that was cool. It made it a little confusing as to what was happening with the timeline of like when the first movie took place, because it was a little bit confusing. I guess it happened like immediately afterwards, but as far as like when it turned into a game the first time, and it got ultimately another character kind of sucked in. But it's I don't feel bad about if they're trying to make this like a fun little series, I guess, a fun little franchise. Like if they make another movie at the end, I think that's fine.
The only problem, though, by the time Jumanji 4 comes out, I'll probably be dead.
Well, if they do it every 20 years,
It's taking forever, yeah.
yeah, probably so.
Yeah. So I like the movie a lot too. When they first got sucked into the game, it was 4 people, and they're missing one person. We couldn't find out who that person is. He's basically the pilot. I originally thought that Alex, the pilot, was probably going to be the bad guy. I was like, it'd be sweet if Alex was the villain here. Like maybe he went to Jumanji and just got like suckered in. He was like, "This is my world now." I'm gonna
stop you real quick.
Hmm?
We're gonna say spoilers because we haven't said spoilers yet.
Oh,
but
spoilers!
Spoiler warning. This isn't honestly, this isn't a spoilable movie, really. Like it doesn't matter if you know what happens. It's kind of just fun anyway. But yeah, I'll let you continue.
Okay, well that was basically it. I mean, I guess I won't spoil too much. Then, or should we just go and spoil everything? I don't know. Anyways, it was
light spoilers.
Yes, what I thought was going to happen, didn't happen, and that was great. I was fine with that. It was funny. There were a lot of penis jokes.
There were a lot of male genitalia jokes. Everyone loves those. Hits home with all sorts of crowds.
They were actually great. It was actually
my girlfriend's son Levi loved them. Loved all the jokes.
Yeah, they were very. I think they're very appropriate. Actually, not appropriate, but they're like
they fit. They're
very PG.
And honestly, given the obviously the synopsis of this movie, 4 kids get sucked into a video game, and they're become the avatars.
Yes.
And one of the characters is in real life is like a attractive popular girl, and the character she chooses is ultimately played by Jack Black. And Jack Black looks like Jack Black, who's like a middle-aged fat white man.
Yeah.
So she reacts as I would imagine most people would if you're in another person's gender, like a different gendered body for the first time.
Yeah, he played it well. It was great. They all have almost all the characters have strengths and weaknesses, and you see what they are in the beginning. And some of the weaknesses are just absolutely hilarious. And when they come up, you will laugh. I laughed. I know I did. It was just maybe it was so good for me because I didn't expect anything.
Because you had no expectations.
It was just so funny. It was solid. And
it's just and this is this is not going to be anyone's favorite movie at the end of the year, and I think that's fine.
Yeah,
if you can see this movie for cheap, just go. It's a good use of your 2 hours, and I think that's really important. We've talked about other movies on this show that were this movie was really trying really hard. It took itself too seriously. And it didn't create a good movie experience, and this is the opposite. This is a great movie experience.
Yeah, it was. Great for families.
Yeah, absolutely. In my opinion, this is. I don't know if this is a controversial statement. Probably not, because it's not like there's that many. I think this is the best video game movie. Even though it's not based on a video game, it's still like a video game movie.
Yeah,
and. There was a lot of video game references. They talk about like you said, strengths and weaknesses where you could actually see on the screen.
Yeah,
and the characters can see.
And they also have NPCs.
Exactly.
They have basically a shop where you go to bazaar and there's
items.
Yeah, there's a guy yelling, bread here, get your bread here, get your drinks here, and it's just
funnel cakes here. They didn't say funnel cakes, but
thank God, because then that'd be rated R. Is it funnel cakes? Anyways. It was very video game-esque, like what you expect out of a video game. Also at the end, you learn one of the characters is from a different timeline. The person that was in there first, who's the Alex character.
Yep.
By the end of the movie, they obviously it's a Jumanji movie. It's a good movie. Happy ending.
Happy ending.
They all get to go home, right? And in the present time, Alex's home was destroyed. His father was crazy old man because basically Alex had been gone for 20 years. People thought he was kidnapped. No one knew what happened. He's just been dead. No one knew. So when they came back, the four players went back to where they came from, which was like the school, and then people were like, "Where's Alex?" And Justin wasn't there. I look over to him, but he's not there.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there. No. But
I've been gone for 20 years.
But I was thinking, like, how is time going to work here? Like, so Alex gets to come back. So like the kids come back to where they were in the school. No time has passed, and Alex joins them. That doesn't make sense. That's like a loophole. Like I don't get it. But what happens is Alex went back to his timeline in 20 years ago.
Don't say 70. I don't think you realize what year
1996.
it is. 1996.
Yeah, so it was 1996, and the kids go back to their timeline.
2016.
And they run towards towards Alex's house. They see Alex come out. He's an adult. He has kids. And it's like, oh, and
everything clicks for him.
Everything clicks, yes. And the house looks not broken down. The grandfather looks great. They look happy. And Alex kind of fell in love with, or kind of thing with the girl. The girl fell.
Bethany, Jack Black's character.
Yes, they like each other. And he kind of I felt kind of sad because they didn't get to be together. But then you learn that Alex's character, he's like,
he's in his 30s now.
He's
in late 30s,
Yeah.
almost 40, and he's had 2 kids.
Yeah, so he did the right thing. He said he talked to her. He's like, I've been thinking of you guys, and he said I named my first daughter Bethany, which is after the character's name, and it was just like,
I'm gonna be honest, I had a little, my eyes welled up just the teensiest bit, just as though I had walked through some mist in a moment, but that was it. Just like a eeny meeny bit.
Wait, did you play Black 1? Was it a Rain of Tears?
No, it was not Rain.
Is it a Rain of Tears? Are you sure?
No, it's not a Rain of Tears.
It was definitely Rain of Tears.
No, it was just,
if you look at Rain of Tears, that is Justin crying on the card.
It was more like 3 and a Green.
What's 3 and a Green?
Upwelling.
Okay, sure. So basically, what I'm trying to get to was this movie portrayed time, and it's portrayed time where everyone can actually understand it. Man, so many movies talk about time,
time. Any sort of time travel, it's easy to muck up.
Even Game of Thrones is confusing. I can't remember the last time I actually understood time so well and clicked so well with me than I did in this movie. And what's crazy is that happens to everybody. Like my mom or my father have no idea when time happened, what's going on. They're always looking at me, what's going on? Ollie, what's happening? Ollie, why did you say that? Ollie, what's happening tomorrow? I'm like, guys, watch the movie. But they would have understood this, I think.
And honestly, the fact that this is not a movie that takes a high IQ to watch.
Yeah,
we're not a knock to it. Really.
Yeah, IQ 10.
Yeah, and that's much better than our, that's much lower than our 100 and 200 IQ.
Yeah, which goes 305.
So, but it's really important that they were able to do that because it's anytime you like I always said, anytime you mess with time, it's really easy to mess it up. And this is it just addressed it in a way that's really easy. Like everyone that's seeing the movie should be able to get it.
Yes,
mine's really simple.
I want to say too, if you guys what, I'm listening to this section because I'm gonna watch Jumanji. I don't care for it. Or
I was in the same boat before.
Yeah, yes, and I'm saying maybe you listen to this section because you haven't watched Jumanji. You're not gonna watch it. And you guys love us. And you just want to listen to it. I'm gonna tell you now. Even knowing what you know, there's a lot of things we did not spoil. All the funny parts. Those alone are worth the movie. So if you guys just want to have a good time with a friend, just relax or just enjoy yourselves, go watch it. If not, then wait a couple times. And it's also a good rental. It's a great rental to sit down and Netflix and chill. So
this is going to be a good family movie for the next 15 years.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, if you all of the characters are funny. They're obviously you have 2 primarily comedic actors in Kevin Hart and Jack Black, but Karen Gillan and Dwayne Johnson are great too. They are equally as funny as everyone else. Kevin Hart is probably the funniest, but he was given a Kevin Hart role, but it worked really well. And also, one of the things that people were talking about is they easily established in the movie that if you die, you respawn with all the items you had. Okay? So the people that are freaking out about that, you respawn with all the items you had. They established that in the movie. It's pretty clear.
They also made. I also like in the beginning they were like, okay, you put the gem back in the Jaguar, then you say its name. And when they first put the gem back in the Jaguar, no one knew what's going on. But anyways, I won't spoil that. You'll see.
That's right. So yeah, obviously this is just light spoilers for this one. There's, like we said, this isn't really a spoilable movie because it's more about fun than like the plot.
Correct.
But the plot is good. Like honestly, if you like video games, I think this is a great video game movie. Probably the best video game movie because it doesn't take itself too seriously and it makes sense. It's like a really basic game, but it does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Ollie, anything else on Jumanji? Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle reminded me of Fate Reforged. Remember that? I was watching the movie.
I don't. What?
The time thing. Fate Reforged.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like it was going to be in the middle and then.
Oh no! I'm saying like
I went way deeper.
Yeah, the timeline with Alex, it was kind of weird because Fate Reforged again had dealt with time. Except Magic's time was extremely complicated. Apparently, like
yeah, like
different topic.
Yeah, different segment, different topic.
The only thing I'll say is apparently
Magic did not make it quite as easy as Jumanji did.
Correct. I'll say one thing only, guys. This is a cool trivia thing. If you didn't know, Sarkin was never born. Sarkin is one of the two planeswalkers that we know of that was never born. Sarkin and Karn. Yep. And Karn was like created. According to time magic lore, Sarkin was never even born, but he exists, and that's so weird. But that's all I gotta say. And
yeah,
Jumanji.
For all of you that are watching, they're listening to this segment, just to get your Sarkin Vol lore. There you have it.
There you go. A sweet little tidbit.
And the answer to Welcome to the Jungle is Guns N' Roses.
Right. So if I put a bag in my head and I sung the song that is sung opening up, would you think I was Guns N' Roses?
Both of them, yeah, Guns and Roses.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah, it'd be the bag would be on your head. I'd take the bag off, and filled in the bag would be multiple guns and some roses.
Right. Yeah. Hold on. Let me put on that bag.
Okay,
again.
we're going to go on to the next segment.
All right.
That is the show for today. So we're going to jump out for just a moment. And when we come back, we're going to wrap up and talk about the Team Open in Philadelphia this weekend.
Goodbye from the jungle. No more fun and games. We're going to Philadelphia. Peace out. Games.
All right. I'm not asking for much. All I want is for us to finish a couple spots better than last time. I don't think that's much to ask.
No, we finished 4th place. So, yeah. I want first. Man. I want first. I'm hungry.
Well, that's what I meant. Like 2 wins better.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's.
I just want to win 2 more times.
Well, for me, it's 2 more wins.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay. Yes.
I said 2 more wins.
So we're going back. We're running it back. We're running with S-Man, Twitterless Steve Man.
Yep.
Justin Parnell and myself. Justin is the Legacy Master, as always.
There's part of that's true. I'm playing Legacy.
Yes. Steve Man will be playing Standard. I'll be playing Modern. Even though I really want to play Standard this time, it's not going to happen. I really want to play this 4-color ramp deck, but
and thus Ollie will be playing Modern.
Correct. I'll be playing Modern. This is gonna be great. I'm super excited. Like last time, super fun. I really hope we. I know we're gonna have fun. I know it's gonna be fun, but I really hope we do well too, man.
Oh, me too. You know, I feel good though.
I do too. I feel good.
I think we're gonna be able to do it. Steve Man is a little under the weather. We're gonna pump him full of some vitamins and just kick him out there.
Some OJ. Pump him full of OJ.
Pump him full of OJ. We're gonna replace his blood with OJ. That will probably work.
Exactly. He's going to be called.
Worked every time.
It's going to be called Orange Man instead of Steve Man.
That's a good one.
All right, so So just, you want to talk about what you're playing, Justin?
I am. So I'm actually going to be playing. Yeah, we could do that. I am going to be playing Soul Tide Delver, which is what I ultimately ended up playing last time. I'm not playing the same 75, but I'm playing the same archetype.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing either Jeskai or Lantern.
No. He's playing Jeskai.
All right, I'll be playing Jeskai.
He's playing Jeskai, which is also the same archetype I played last time, but just a different 75.
And we're still not sure about Steve Man.
He's going to be playing a jumble of standard cards, which is the exact same archetype he played last time, probably just a different 75.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Steve Man will figure it out. He's the man, obviously, Mr. Man.
The Orange Man.
The Orange Man.
Yep. All right. So that's what we're looking forward to next weekend. Hopefully, if you guys are listening to this, you should go on right now, unless it's on Friday. If you're listening to this on Saturday and Sunday, go check out the Philadelphia Team Open coverage, and maybe we'll be on camera.
I hope so. Hope we're winning.
There's a shot.
Hopefully watching Sunday, like you just finally watch this in the day.
Sunday late afternoon.
Yes.
That's when you'll see us for sure.
Oh, I hope so.
All right, Ollie, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, www.twitter.com/Ollie Same is true for Twitch. I write for GatheringMagic.com. My articles come out every Friday. Guys, this article you will want to read this Friday.
I want to read it now.
I have the best Grixis deck for you, a great black-red deck, and my 5-color ramp deck with Zakama Yamama. You will want to read the article. It has great decks, has a great brew. Don't miss it. And Parnell, where can we find your glorious face?
You can find my face and the rest of me on Twitter. Well, it's mostly just like my words.
Oh.
If you can click on my face, but it's simply a picture. But you can find it at jparnell1 on Twitter. You can also find me on SourceOfTheGames.com and YouTube every Wednesday, 11 a.m. I'm the host of the Commander Versus series. We are going strong in Season 10. We just had a blast of an episode. We all played decks. All 4 of us played decks from our season. The prior season, we had episode 100, and 4 different people got to build decks just for us, where we had to play exactly what they want us to play. We did that. It was great. Everyone's deck did what it was supposed to do. Even the deck that didn't do what it was supposed to do ultimately did what it was supposed to do, which was die.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, if you want to find the show, you can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on YouTube. You can follow the show at ThinkTwiceMTG on Twitter, or if you want to contact us directly, ThinkTwiceMTG@gmail.com. If you send us an email, we might not answer it like same day, but we see it and we'll definitely get back to you. A couple of you have sent in emails, and I believe we should have responded to just about everyone at this point. So if you want to contact us in a little more personal setting, you can certainly do that. We will get back to you 100%. If you'd be so kind to share the show, that would be very, very helpful. You can do that in any of the means, SoundCloud, iTunes, or YouTube. We'd love you to leave a review on iTunes. That is something that can really help us, especially if you leave us a 5-star review if you really enjoy the show. And we'd love for you to continue to leave comments on YouTube. Obviously, it's more fun when more people are commenting, so hopefully more people can start commenting too soon, especially considering that in the near future, we're going to be moving to a vodcast format. So many of you supported the show through patreon.com/ThinkTwiceMTG. Our Patreon supporters have got us over the hump of our first goal, which is to allow us to create a weekly vodcast, which we are working on, getting some of our graphical stuff ready. You guys reached that goal a lot quicker than we were prepared for, as well as the second goal. And we're on to the third goal, which is if we're able to do $200 per episode, we're going to be able to do a monthly live show we're going to call Deep Analysis, where we take a deep dive on a subject and allow you guys to ask us anything you'd like and interact with us during that time. We don't have any new Disciple Ball as patron or up supporters, new ones this week, but obviously we do have our graphic designer Amber West to thank, our director and producer John Shea to thank, and our Agent of Bolus producers Daniel Hunt, Josh Lyons, and Gordon Russell to thank as well.
Thank you all very much. I obviously very appreciate you for sharing the show, listening to the show, and guys, if you're supporting this Patreon, much love. You're the true MVP. And guys, we're kind of close to that third tier. If you again, remember, if we get that 3rd tier, we'll interact with you directly. I want to do that. Help us do that.
Yeah, we would love to do that. We really want to be able to do it. We do need to be at that goal to be able to do that. But if we can, we will certainly do that. Especially in the next month or so, we're going to be ramping up with all of these other rewards are going to be coming out, which we are still getting prepared for. But you guys will start seeing them shortly. That's it for the show this week, guys. Thank you very much, Ollie. Thank you for being the best co-host on this show, for sure. On this show,
for sure.
I've narrowed it down.
For sure on this show.
For sure, can guarantee.
All right, well, Justin, I love you, and let's leave the jungle.
All right, it's time to leave the jungle.
Go to the city.
All right, the city of Philly, city of brotherly love. We'll see some of you there. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week.
Are we getting a Philly cheesesteak?
Maybe so.